Today we're going to go ahead and do some more practicing for fraction busting. And of course, this is a way to make an equation easier so we don't have to deal with common denominators. So we're going to clear those fractions. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to do 4 different examples today. Here we go, fraction busting. And once again, we learned this last class. So you can always look back at your previous notes. And let's go ahead and jump right in. So our first example that we're going to solve using this method is 3x divided by 4 minus 13/20 is equal to 7/10. So our goal is to get rid of the numerator. And by doing that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the denominator. And we're going to look at the multiples of the denominator. So we're going to look at the multiples of 4, which are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And then we're going to look at 20. Of course, that's 20, 40, 60. And then we're going to look at the multiples of 10, 10, 20. Now, as I'm doing that, I'm looking for a number, the smallest number that is in all 3 sets of multiples. And that is 20. And that's the number that we are going to multiply every single term on both sides with. So our technique is we're going to go ahead and put parentheses around each of those fractions or numbers, each term. And we're going to multiply by 20. So we're going to physically put a 20 in the numerator of each of those. And remember, as long as we multiply the same thing on both sides, every single term on both sides, we can do this without changing the equation. Now we kind of do a division problem. We ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 20? Now, because we found the least common multiple of all of these, we know that this is going to go into evenly because this top number will always be a multiple. So 4 goes into 20 5 times. So I cross them out and put a 5 there. 20 goes into 20 once, and 10 goes into 20 twice. Now that I've done that, basically kind of division there, 20 divided by 4, 20 divided by 20, 20 divided by 10, I'm ready to multiply whatever's on the outside of my set of parentheses by what's on the inside. So I have 5 times 3x, which is 15x. 1 times negative 13 is negative 13, is equal to, and 2 times 7 is 14. So this is our technique of how to get rid of those denominators by using the least common multiple, multiplying by every single term on both sides. Now that we have this, we're ready to go ahead and solve normally with our 2-step equation. So we're going to get rid of that negative 13 by doing the opposite operation of negative 13, which is adding 13 or positive 13. That leaves us with 15x is equal to 14 plus 13 is 27. Then we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 15. This cancels out, and x is equal to 27/15. Now, they're both divisible by 3, so I'm going to divide 3 out of the top and the bottom, and that gives me 9/5. Or I can look at it as 1 4/5, or I can look at it as 1 8/10, or 1.8. Okay? So that, ladies and gentlemen, is our first example of fraction busting. Let's go ahead and try a second one. Problem number 2. 2x over 3 minus 5/2 is equal to negative 1. Let's do 1/2. Okay. So we just have 2 different numbers here. So we're finding our multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12. We're then finding our multiples of 2. 2, 4, 6. as soon as I run into a number that's also in my 3 multiple column, I know that's the number that I'm going to multiply with. So we're going to go ahead and put parentheses around every single term on both sides, and we're going to multiply it by 6 in the numerator. Now we're ready to go ahead and divide. 3 goes into 6 twice, so we cross them both out and put the 2. 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. Now we're ready to go ahead and multiply. 2 times 2x is 4x. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. And 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Now that we've cleared our fractions, we're going to go ahead and solve for x. So we're going to add 15 to both sides. And that gives us 4x is equal to 12. The opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. And our answer, x, is equal to 3. So once again, we can check our answer by plugging that 3 into our equation for x, and then doing all of the math and making sure it's equal to negative 1/2. So we have 6/3, which is 2, and 2 minus 5/2 is 2.5. 2 minus 2.5 is indeed negative 1/2, so we know that we got our correct answer. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our third example. We have 4x divided by 3 plus 3x divided by 2 is equal to 17/6. Okay. So we have the same as before, but now we're adding a 6 as well, which is convenient because 6 was our common denominator before. So we're going to go ahead and use 6 for our multiplier. So once again, we're going to put it every single term in parentheses and put it on the outside. Then we're going to go ahead and divide. 3 goes into 6 twice. We cross them both out and put the 2. 2 goes into 6 3 times. And 6 goes into 6 once. Now we're ready to multiply. 2 times 4x is 8x. 3 times 3x is positive 9x. And 1 times 17 is 17. We're going to go ahead and combine our like terms on the left-hand side. 8x plus 9x is 17x is equal to 17. We're going to divide both sides by 17. And x is equal to 1. Okay. Let's go ahead and do our last problem. And hopefully this is giving you a good idea of the process as we're going through each of these. So we have negative x over 2 minus 5x over 6 is equal to 1/9. Okay, so we're looking at our multiples of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. We then have our 6, 12, 18, and finally 9, 18. Okay. So as you can see, we have 18. Now, we had to go a really long way for our 2's there. Sometimes you just do a couple of them, and then as you do the other ones, you're like, oh, we didn't get there. Or some people like to start with the bigger ones, and then they can see which of the smaller ones go in evenly. So there's lots of methods, and you just need to keep practicing until you find the one that works best for you. So we're going to put parentheses around everything, and we're going to multiply everything on both sides by 18. So 2 goes into 18 9 times, 6 goes into 18 3 times, and 9 goes into 18 twice. So let's go ahead and multiply those out. 9 times negative x is negative 9x. Remember, that's invisible 1. 3 times negative 5x is negative 15x. And 2 times 1 is 2. We're going to combine our like terms here on this side. Negative 9x minus 15x is 15 and 9 is negative 24x. And that's equal to 2. We're going to finish by dividing both sides by negative 24. And x is going to be equal to, we can divide 2 out of the top and the bottom, negative 1/12. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is how we clear our fractions, and we can call this fraction busting or simply make your equations easier. So take your denominators, list them, find all of their multiples until you find a common multiple, put parentheses around every single term on both sides, put your most common multiple there, your least common multiple on the outsides, divide how many times the denominator goes into that, cross them both out, put that number, and finish up by multiplying the numerator by what's remaining, and then go ahead and solve for x.